For the Sacramento Kings, did you get in on that? What was it just as much? Because I know lots of really wealthy people will then kind of jump into stuff that they're more interested in, even if they know it's not necessarily the most lucrative thing they could do. Was part of that you're just like, fuck yeah, I'm rich as hell. I love basketball. I'm getting in.
Yeah, that was 100% it. Like my whole dream growing up was to make enough money as I could to own a sports team by myself. And I got my first job out of law school working for a law firm, and I picked the firm. I got a few offers. I picked the firm that represented the Red Sox, and I was like, "Here I go! I'm gonna start working on Red Sox stuff. Before you know it, I'll be general manager." And they were like, "You're the lowest, employee here. You never work on stuff. Screw that." I was like, "Oh, this sucks." When I made some money and I came out, I bought a minor league baseball team, and I loved it. And with the Colorado Rockies, the Nuts, and we were the number one selling apparel. Guess why? Right? We're the Nuts.
Yeah.
Kids
I looked that up today. Really good branding. It's funny. Yeah.
Nuts on their head. Yeah. And minor league baseball, you only control outside of the white line. So the players, the contracts, everything is run by the parent organization. It's almost like the movie theater business. Like we have the stadium and the tickets and stuff like that. So I tried to get involved and put a group together to buy the Oakland A's, which was not for sale. But as it happened, the Kings saga started to happen, and we were contacted by Kevin Johnson, the mayor, as like, hey, you have a group. Can we make it a better group with richer people than you, Andy, and see if we can save this team from being bought by Steve Ballmer and move to Seattle? And that's kind of what happened. And so I'm like, I'm in. Yeah, this is great. And then I put my money in. They said, hey, you know what? We need everyone to double what they're putting in here. I was like, oh, okay. So I went back to my wife. I was like, hey, the guys wanted me to put in double what we put in. She's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah. And I was like, but I love it. I really want to do this. And so we did. And it's a killer investment. We bought the team for $500 million, and I think Forbes has us at like 1.8. And if we'd sell it, it'd be over 2, I'm sure. But it's not easy to sell a minority share in a team. But it's exactly. It was just a passion for me.
Do you follow basketball real closely?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know. I hope you can answer. If you're the 76ers, do you trade Ben Simmons for D'Angelo Russell and a first-round pick?
I would say no, but there's always so many like permutations you don't know behind the scenes what's going on. Like Ben Simmons, does he really want to stay in Philadelphia? Like, does he really get along with the coach? Are his parents annoying? He's a good dude. Everyone knows him. Like, I'd take him in a second, but they might not have a choice.
Yeah.
No, right?
I follow the Sixers. For people listening, their year is just slightly disappointing. I don't think it's wildly disappointing like people are saying it is. It's just a little below where they hoped they'd be. And they have 2 great players. Their second best player, they both belong in the paint. That's their thing. And trading him for a guy who shoots the 3 might be smart. And I don't know. People are talking about it. Wanted to get Andy's thoughts.
I would want to own a sports team, so like I could go to every game and just walk in like the king. The king, that thing that they let old people ride around on at the airport, and you get jealous because they get to their gate faster.
The golf cart,
yeah. I want my own golf cart. They're driving me around. I'm throwing like coupons and shit at people.
But you sit on top like the Pope Mobile.
Yeah, I sit on the top like the Pope Mobile. Yeah, that'd be fucking sick.
I don't think you have to buy a franchise to make that happen. I mean,
well, if you try and steal the golf cart, they send you overnight in jail.
They do not like.
We had that opportunity. We had that opportunity in a way in that the old arena, ACO Arena. There's my Boston there. Arena in Natomas was beloved and the loudest arena in the world, but a total dump. Like, you wouldn't believe how it decayed, and it looked like it was in an office building. And I remember going into the locker room first. I was like, oh my God, my high school locker room was better than this. It was pathetic. They didn't have lockers. It was just like a long, rod, and you put your shit on it. And there were like three shower heads and they were normal for like me, but for if you're 7 foot, like they came up to your nipples, you had to like duck underneath. There was no room for the press, and we didn't have any like owners area. It was terrible. So when we started to design the new arena, like we made this we've got like a owner's little nightclub in there, which is ridiculous. And we got our own like owner's exit, and there's some cool shit. There's some perks.
Yeah. Oh, I bet. Well, if you're throwing down that much money, there better be some fucking perks.
I'll tell you also sitting on the floor in basketball is like, there's no sport like that. There's nothing like that. I mean, what other game can you sit on the floor with the players? Literally, my seats are to the right of the visitors bench, and they sit down in front of us and check in, and you talk to the guys. But like you're in the game. I mean, the balls come. I brought my mom, and my mom's 88 and 89. And after about 5 minutes, she's like, I really don't feel comfortable here.
Ice hockey has that. Yeah.
I was like, hockey's about as close as you can
You
get to
got
that.
sweat flying. You can see how different it is down low, where these guys just so physical and they push each other, and which guys are.
I sat behind the Red Wings during a Stanley Cup final game, and after like a period and a half, it was like, their body odor is a problem. Am I the only one here? It's like, I don't know, even though this is good. I need more glass or something. They stunk up the area.
Yeah, I have a whole thing with like going to sporting events. I've gone to a few different kinds of events, and I don't do it often. So when I do go, I go ahead and get the best tickets that are available. Right? If I go to a Braves game, last time I went to a Braves game, I was sitting right behind where like the players' families sit, and that was very depressing because first of all, their tickets are free, and yet it's still just a little bit better than mine, which was wildly overpriced. And second of all, their food was incredible. They were coming out of this little tunnel that they've got with like espresso and like cheesecake. I'm like, cheesecake? Who's got cheesecake down there? Where's this coming from? But still, even with what was literally the best ticket that you could purchase at the stadium, I couldn't really get a grasp on how big the batter was. Is that guy 6'4"? Is he 5'9"? I don't know. It's all relative, right? Like they could all be giants, or they could all be regular sized guys. I can't tell. We went to a UFC fight, and we didn't get the best tickets you can buy. We certainly weren't down there next to the cage, but we were in like the first row of seating that doesn't involve being in a folding chair. I hated it. I was staring at the Jumbotron the whole time. It's like I feel like I just paid for the atmosphere.
MMA is not that good in person.
I don't want to have to look through a chain link fence.
That's the truth of it. I did have I couldn't see the fights that well, but when I went to see Joe fight in Japan, one of our friends, a UFC fighter, and I actually got his friends and family tickets. I sat with all the family members. You cannot talk shit about the fighters when you know you're surrounded by their family. Like this Asian dude just lost, and there's a 52-year-old Asian woman to my right. That could be his mom, right? Yeah. His mom's here somewhere. So good
she's
fight.
Got some moves if her son.
Yeah, right. Just be nice, be polite.
Yeah, my only experience with being on the floor and with basketball was going all the way back to like high school basketball, But I loved that there's something about being right there next to them. There's a lot of energy there. Like
you feel like you're part of it.
You can feel like the concussion of their feet on the floor, and like you're right there with them. You're almost feeling the wind off these guys as they're playing. And then when we last hockey game, when Taylor and I were in Colorado and we watched the game, and we were right behind the bench of whatever the team was. I don't know.
Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, right behind the Avalanche bench. And it was like, man, that's them right there. Those are the guys. And it's like there's this little piece of glass here is all that's keeping me from giving this guy a Joe Biden back massage right now. Yeah. He's just right there. But with like football, or baseball especially, like the field of play is so large, and I just feel like you're there for the atmosphere, the overpriced food, and to look at the Jumbotron. And I'd just rather be at home where like the bathroom is 8 steps away, and like if I want a pizza, I can order a whole pizza and it'll be $8. It won't be $10 a slice. Although here in Atlanta, we've got like the fan friendly pricing, they're calling it, at the Falcons games.
Yeah, that's a good
And
deal.
it's ridiculously cheap. Like it's $2 for for like a slice of pizza, and $4 for a burger, like normal human being prices. Not because if you take your whole family, that's what I never think about because I'm a single guy. I'm like, man, that was expensive. That was $30 for my food. But what if you took your family of 4 out and you've already bought tickets for them, and you're not the guy who sold HostGator, you're the guy who's an accountant. You know, you're like, I'm going to take the family out to the ballpark, and you're like, oh my God, $400. This was not worth it.
Yeah.
So if you guys could buy a franchise each, what sport would you buy it in?
I would buy the Atlanta Braves and finally put an end to a generation of woe. All right.
Easy as that.
I grew up here. I believe the Atlanta Braves are the most disappointing franchise in sports history. Hear me out on this. No franchise has ever no franchise has ever been so close to so many championships.
True.
And failed so many times. We won our division like 15 years in a row and came out with one World Series. And it wasn't a fluke. We had 4 of the greatest pitchers of all time starting for like a decade. We held on to them forever. Maddox and Glavine and Smoltz and Knobloch or somebody. We had an amazing lineup. We had a famous coach, fiery guy who entertained the fans, and everybody was like, well, we're not gonna make it to the series or anything. And if we do, we're certainly not gonna beat those Yankees. But hey, we got a good ball club. We whooped the Marlins again.
Hey. Yeah, so you'd go and make the right moves for the Braves.
I don't know what the right moves are, but I would find someone who would make those moves for me.
All right.
What about if there was a financial decision, not a personal decision? If you say, okay, I got a bunch of money I just made. What league do you feel would you put your money in? MLS, auto, esport, football? I mean, baseball is probably not the place you put it in as far as a growing sport.
No.
So where would you guys go?
Oh, that's interesting. That's a horse of a different color.
Wow.
See, I didn't think about the financial part at all. I was thinking everyone would assume that I'd go for the St. Louis Blues because that's my hometown team. I only care about hockey; it's the only sport I like. Yeah. But we've already won the Stanley Cup now. The monkey's off our back. So I buy the Chicago Blackhawks, and I try to draft really well, and I just feed easy trades to Doug Armstrong at the Blues. I'll trade you Patrick Kane for that half full green Gatorade. Well, I guess so. And I'm like, sorry, City of Chicago, I got fleeced. And there'd be like fucking ESPN articles like, is it appropriate for the Blackhawks owner to show up to the game in full Blues regalia? You know? It's like, well, it was inappropriate because they were playing Detroit. You know, I might be sabotaged. If I'm looking for money, I don't even know. Like, what are the 4 major sports? Obviously, I would assume, apparently not baseball. I know not hockey. I would guess basketball if you're trying to make money because it's exploding in popularity.
The basketball ones comes to my mind because it doesn't have the CTE issues, right? Like CTE is crushing football right now. People don't want their kids playing football in high school and such. That has to work its way into hockey too.
And the Chinese love basketball, and that's just an enormous market. Yeah.
Top sport. Yeah. Here's a big factor for you to think about. You would probably, have you guys heard of sort of the helmet hat theory?
I have not.
You would not want to invest in a game where the players wear a helmet or a hat. And those are the games that are in more trouble because it's really, really hard to create stars when someone's wearing a helmet or a hat. For example, best baseball players in the world. If they were walking down the street right now, go pick one. Harper, right? If Harper's walking down my street, 90% of people are going to have no idea who he is because he wears a hat. Tom Brady, they would, but that's more because of the outside of the game. Pick an amazing running back, right? They have no idea. I couldn't tell you half the guys on the 49ers here at all, but then they're about to, make the Super Bowl. You go down that list. And the reason why basketball players, like, you feel like you have more relationship or they're more human is you can see them. You can understand who they are when they come down to the bench and they put their hand in their head and they're upset. You kind of get it. So you can market those guys and create stars. And I think if you look at the games that have really taken off with millennials who are spending the money, it's soccer and basketball and
Yeah.
esports.
I
All
was
right,
actually going to go with, and it's probably a really stupid thing. I know it's a stupid thing the way the sport is currently set up, but like mixed martial arts to me is the sport where you connect with your team, if you will, because it's just one guy.
Mhm.
The most, and I've said this a lot, many times on this show, that the reason that I like mixed martial arts more than any team sport is because teams are for the most part at the professional level. Um, what's the word I'm looking for? Where you're just a hired, they're just hired guns. You know, they're
Yeah.
they're just
They're like mercenaries. Yeah.
they're like mercenaries. That's what I was looking for. They're mercenaries. Whereas, what is an Atlanta Brave? Like, is that a Native American from Atlanta who loves to fucking hit dingers? Like, no, it's the guy from Chicago who's getting paid $12 million to come disappoint the fans of Atlanta this year. So it really means nothing if you really boil it down. And you're cheering for the uniform in the end, and your own like city's pride. But the city's
Your
pride
city,
thing is
yeah.
just
Plus, you take the helmet and hat thing times 10. I prefer my athletes to show up in their underwear.
exactly like when you mentioned like seeing that basketball player's head in his hands and seeing the anguish or maybe even the physical pain of whatever's happened in the game. Multiply that by 10. Now you get to see the guy. Sometimes you literally get to see them poop their pants because they've just been knocked.
I can name a
unconscious,
few.
You know? Yeah. Like there's nothing. There are a few things in life that are more humiliating than being beaten up in front of a crowd of people. You know, it's got to be right there with public speaking. If you're a high school age boy, it's like, I don't want to get beat up in front of everybody. Oh man.
And it happens in isolation, right? Like,
And it
so there's
happens
a
every
certain like just innate kind of embarrassment of losing a fight, like that just exists.
Yeah.
But like when it's your career, that adds to it. When it's all that stuff, and it happens in your underwear, and I become fans of fighters who lose well. The Dominic Cruz did it one time. He got out there and he said, "You know what? I was healthy. I was the best me. I was just the second best guy out there tonight." And they're like, "Yeah, obviously you're unhappy." It's like, I don't know, unhappy is what you're looking for. I just, I got to look at the tape, see how I can get better and be a better me next time around. And he lost so well. Conor McGregor loses very well usually. He goes out here just like, I didn't manage my energy efficiently. I got by the second round. I had nothing left. If I didn't knock that guy out in the first, we got to improve this strategy. And it's like a guy who loses well, it could create fans.
Yeah. So I don't know if the business model is there the way
Right.
it is for a team. In fact, I know that it's not. But like if I could invest if I could buy a mixed martial artist, that's what I'd do. Because he's an army of one out there. He's always given everything he's got.
You show him off to your friends at your fancy parties. Come on in here, boy. Give him a flex. It's like a fucking plantation on here. You're fucking Leonardo DiCaprio from Django.
That's literally what I'm picturing. Yeah.
I hear what you're saying, Kyle. Although I think as a business, it's the opposite of a good investment, right? Because like
it is.
I can guarantee you, the Sacramento Kings will be interesting 10 years from now, and whichever fighter you're interested in won't be. He'll be retired.
That's absolutely I invested heavily in the Chuck Liddells.
right. And he's 50.
Come on out here, Chuck. Oh, he's lost again. Flash the light.
Andy,